Welcome to this week's video, and this week we are getting all kinds of Nintendo. Following the launch of the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which I did see last weekend and will be talking about as part of this video, I have some really cool old and new Nintendo pickups to share with you. So if you're into Nintendo and you like yourself a bit of Mario, this video is for you.
Yo, it's the Mario Brothers, and plumbing's the game. Found the secret water zone while working on the drain. Lend the princess a hand.
Okay, so as I said, this video very much going to be Nintendo heavy, and I've been a Nintendo fan since the 80s, since I was tiny, since the original NES. So when the Super Mario Galaxy movie was announced and we started to get the trailers, and of course it came out just also a week or so ago as you're seeing this, I was super excited. The first Super Mario film from Illumination Studios was, I thought, personally, really good. I know that it wasn't universally loved by critics, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and my family thoroughly enjoyed it. And my son, who was only, I think, 2.5, nearly 3 at the time, was mesmerised. He spent the last few years really getting into the Nintendo Switch, playing a lot of Mario games. He plays more of my collection than I do at this point. So when the new movie was coming out, he was really, really excited. And he'd been playing Mario Galaxy, so he knew some of the characters. And yeah, so we went to see this last Sunday, and we absolutely loved it. All 4 of us, my wife, my daughter and my son, all got a real kick out of the film. I wanted to just very quickly talk about it before I get into if you heard that, that's my Nintendo Alarmo clock annoying me every hour. I don't know why I keep this clock in this room. But anyway, as I was saying, I want to talk about the film just very briefly. I'm not going to spoil it. This is not a review. I'm not going into any details. But what I really wanted to address was something that's really frustrated me about this film, and not the movie itself, but about the release. When I started to see the reviews coming out from the critics, there were some really brutal, absolute crushing reviews of this, liking it to AI slop, calling it absolute trash, you know, basically one big advert. A lot of really negative stuff. And I don't tend to read a huge amount of these reviews, but I was just flicking through Apple News and picked up on a couple of these. There was one from the Telegraph, which was absolutely brutal, and it just really frustrated me because having watched the film, and coming out and really enjoying it, and having spoken to people who have seen it as well, who echo those feelings, I don't know why people feel the need to be so aggro about these things. There's nothing offensive about the Mario movie. There is nothing overly heavy duty on the sell side. Yes, it's full of Nintendo product, but that's the whole point. It's the Mario universe. They're not trying to sell you anything. There's no Switch 2s in there. You know, it really frustrates me because what this movie is at its core is bright, colourful, fast-moving, which ultimately will grip the children that are going to see this stuff. And then for people like me, and people who grew up with Mario, whatever generation you are, frankly, but certainly as far back as I go, it's just littered with incredible Easter eggs and moments that will make you smile. There is a real attention to audiences of all ages with this film. You know, a lot of kids' films, if you've got young children and you've been to the cinema for this stuff, you'll know sometimes as an adult, it's 90 minutes of torture. Some of these films are pretty awful. And I will say, come at me in the comments if you want to, the Minecraft movie fits into this category. I really want to enjoy that. I'm a big Jack Black fan, but it was awful. Absolutely awful. And I don't say that about many films. But this movie, Super Mario Galaxy, was superb. Littered, as I say, with fun Easter eggs, lots of nostalgia, really deep cuts for Nintendo fans. You know, again, not a spoiler because it's been in the trailers. Rob the Robot, for example, that the whole very short moment that he has in the movie is just so cool. But if you didn't know the history of Rob the Robot and what that meant for the NES and how it performed and played and what you did with it, half those jokes would be lost on you. It's funny because to a kid it's just funny, but as an adult who gets it, you're like, I see what you did there. For me, again, not a spoiler because Nintendo spoiled it before the movie. The inclusion of Fox McCloud was incredible. There was just a very small section. He's in it for a little while, but the very small bit where he introduced himself, just, I don't know, if you were a fan of Lilac Wars, as it was in the UK, Star Fox 64 for my US colleagues, It was so fun. So, so cool. Possibly my favourite moment in the movie. Sorry, quick editing interruption. I was just putting the video together and looking for some B-roll, and I came across this awesome 2-minute video that a YouTuber called Alex Kramer has created. I've put a link to it below, but I'm going to insert it here as well. He has made a Star Fox 64 trailer, which I thought was just absolutely excellent. So I'm going to play it here for you. It's just 2 minutes of fun. I've credited him down below and on the screen as well. Go and check out his channel. But I thought I'd leave this here just for a little bit of fun.
It's quiet. Too quiet.
Something's wrong.
This is horrible.
Andros has declared war. We need your help, Star Fox.
I'll do my best. Andros won't have his way with me.
Something's not right here. Be careful, it's a trap.
Ah, the son of James McCloud. You will die just like your father.
Never give up. Trust your instincts. Fox, don't go dying on me.
Let's take it to him, Fox.
Press B or R twice. Do a barrel roll. You'll be seeing your dad soon, Fox.
Fire! Fire! Don't let him through!
You are not taking him down today.
Yes!
You're becoming more like your father. Don't ever give up, my son.
Who are you guys?
We're Star Fox.
So anyway, I just wanted to sit here and say, as a Nintendo fan with young children, this film is going to tick all your boxes. You do not need to worry about the negativity. I think the Rotten Tomatoes scores, you can see there's a massive disparity between the critics' reviews, which I think were circling around the 50% mark. I'll put an updated screenshot on that's either worse or better than that now, but it certainly was around that mark before, maybe even less, and the critic score I think was somewhere around the high 80s, the 90s. It was comparable to the previous Mario movie, frankly. And in terms of which one I enjoyed more, we did watch the first one just a day or so before to get ourselves in the mood. I think it's really hard. I maybe preferred the first one, but by small margins. But then there's lots of stuff about the second one that I would say I enjoyed more than the kind of wider picture of the first. So I don't know. I'm torn. I think they're very, very similar, to be honest. And if you enjoyed the first one and you got all the references in the first one, you're going to have a whole heap of fun with the sequel. So in terms of the movie impressions, I'm leaving it there. Like I said, it's not a review. I just wanted to reassure anyone who was a bit nervous about it, that hadn't seen it yet, that you're in for a good time. And don't let the critics put you off. It certainly doesn't seem to have affected the box office, because it's smashing the box office at the moment and making loads of money, which is fine by me, because that means there will inevitably be a third. And yeah, you can sign me up for that bad boy. While we're on the topic of the movie and pickups, and I did tease this at the end of last week's video for the 60 odd of you that watched it, it didn't do very well. You'll have noticed in the background this young man. And if you know anything about the release of the movie and this guy, it's been another one of those frustrating moments for collectors or for kids, frankly. And again, I'm going to have a little bit of a soapbox moment here and rant a little bit about this, because I feel very lucky that I managed to get mine. But I know that there are a lot of people, probably lots of children, who've been disappointed by this because of the way that these popcorn buckets have been picked up and scalped by the typical internet scum. And I'm sorry if you're one of them. If you are, please unsubscribe and go away, because it really winds me up. A lot of these have been picked up and picked up by adults who are just looking to sell them. You know, they're not looking to buy them out of love, display them, collect them. They're buying them in as many as they can buy, traveling between cinemas, picking these things up, and in order to sort of triple the price on eBay or Vinted or wherever they're selling them, and rip you off basically, and disappoint those children who go to the movie hoping to pick one of these things up, wanting to sit there with their Yoshi on their lap, enjoy their popcorn and enjoy an incredible movie, and can't because they've been picked up by these scalpers. So let me tell you the story about how I got mine, and talk just a little bit about it very briefly. So these retail at $19.99, I think is the recommended retail price. I have a cinema in my local town, which is about a mile, so it's walk from my house, so pretty convenient. And one of my lunch breaks, I think it was the Wednesday before the film came out, or the week the film came out, I took a walk into the town centre and went to my local View cinema. Now, I'd been told a few days prior that when these things were going on sale, so I made sure to go in and get one for our household. So I got one for me, and I got one for a friend who's a really big Nintendo collector. I got there around, it would have been about 12:30. I went and bought my cinema tickets because the View, I think quite rightly, was strictly only selling the Yoshi buckets to people who had bought a cinema ticket. And I couldn't agree more with that, and that's absolutely the right approach. There should be at least some sort of gated entry here in terms of how you get them. When I picked mine up, there were at least 2 or 3 questionable characters trying to pressure the young lady who was the manager of that local View to selling a number of buckets to them, and she was standing her ground and sort of saying, no, you've got to buy tickets, you know, and they were buying tickets, but they were trying to get more buckets, and she was trying to restrict them, and it looked like an uncomfortable conversation for her. I felt really bad for her because they shouldn't have to deal with that. And these were like sort of slimy looking grown men, and probably not too dissimilar to me in age, to be honest, and it just really frustrated me. Like I said, I picked mine up on the Wednesday. By the time a friend of mine went on the Friday, expecting or hoping to pick them up for him and his family, they had sold out at his local cinema. And I think that has been consistent, as far as I can tell, almost everywhere. When I went to actually see the viewing of the film on the Sunday, so only 4 days later, every one of the popcorn buckets that was on display had gone. I assumed, therefore, they'd sold out. We didn't ask. And all of the Luma buckets, which I also didn't think would sell out as well, had also gone. Now, there's no way that cinema's allocation of those expensive buckets had sold out in an area like where I live. There's no way those had all sold out to just the kids who wanted them. There were definitely families buying them. When I went in and got mine, there were definitely kids with their Luma buckets, with their Yoshi buckets. But I'm convinced that, again, a lot of those went to scalpers. And, you know, you see the pictures online. Again, I'll try and insert a couple if I can, of people with like car boots full of them. And they've gone around buying them up for the different cinemas. And I was seeing them for sale even before I picked mine up, before they'd even officially been released, for £45, £50 on eBay. I think the high was probably 60, 65. I don't know what they're at now. But it just really frustrates me, because this is the sort of situation where for £20, you might sound like a lot for a popcorn bucket, but put into context, this is a large piece of Nintendo merchandise. That's pretty good value, I think, for that. And if you've got kids that love that film, they're going to love Yoshi because he's such a cute and adorable character anyway, but such a key part of the film. They're going to want these things. And it puts a huge pressure on those parents then to pay crazy scalper prices to get them sent through the post. They're, I imagine, reasonably sturdy, but, you know, it is plastic. It might crack and break in the post. It's big. It's going to be expensive to ship. It just really annoys me. I'm super pleased I've got mine. And I said I picked one up for a friend who's a massive Nintendo fan. So hopefully the other one that I've picked up will go to a very good home and be displayed proudly in a really impressive collection. But for me, he's going to sit here. My kids were adoring of him when we picked him up. Of course, if they want to play with him, they can. I'm not stopping them from taking him out and using him. I'm not going to be that guy. But he's going to live here in my little kind of Mario Galaxy themed shelf, which I'm going to add some more stuff to through this video. So I just thought I'd talk about that while talking about the film, because it's just a point of frustration, I think, for me at this point. And I really wish there were ways that we could deal with this. You know, anyway, I'm not sure what the answer is, but if you manage to get one for your collection, then fair play to you. And if you haven't managed to get one, I would say hold off and wait just a little bit. I think once the fuss around the movie dies down and these people with car boots full of these giant, hard to store Yoshis are probably going to start reducing the price and selling them back down towards that more reasonable cinema release price, because they're not going to hold that value. Once the fuss around the film goes, they're not going to be shipping at 50, 60 pounds a go anymore. And people are going to have, you know, living rooms full of them because they are massive, you know, truly massive. Anyway, so that's the Mario Galaxy film and my Mario Galaxy experience. I have got some other cool Nintendo stuff. Some of it is Galaxy adjacent, and a few other retro, quite retro Nintendo editions as well. So we're going to shift over to the other end of the games room, and I'm going to take you through some of those now. So here we are at the other end of the room, and for the keen-eyed amongst you who followed the channel for a while, you might notice a small furniture-based change. Had a bit of a swap round with my daughter. She's had this kind of fold-out bed / chair in her room for a little while now, and I was finding the big beanbag sofa that many of you watched me embarrassingly make a mess of trying to unbox many moons ago when I did the last move around in here. I just finding it really uncomfortable to sit on. Honestly, it wasn't what I hoped it would be. It's definitely not designed for a man my size, despite their adverts. So I've swapped to something a bit more comfortable, and she is loving having the little beanbag sofa chair thing in her room for when she wants to lounge around with her mates. So I've got a nice little comfy chair now. It's better for my old man back, but there we go. So real mixed bag of things for the pickups today. Some cool stuff for the collection, some new stuff Galaxy themed, which we'll get to as well, and some retro, and also something that I have pulled from the collection that wasn't on display, that following the Galaxy movie now is on display. So we'll start with that one. So not a new addition to my collection, but a game that honestly isn't all that exciting, but it's called Starlink Battle for Atlas, and it's not the game itself that I wanted to talk about here. But in this game, on the Nintendo, you got, if you bought the right version, a Star Fox add-on, which allowed you to use Star Fox's ship instead of the default ships in the game. And it came with a collectible statue. So this kind of handhold controller here is designed to hold the Switch Joy-Con, so that's what that does on the bottom. But then your ship docks on top, and you could add guns and weapons, and inside is a Fox McCloud little statue, which I'll show you in B-roll. But I decided, having seen the Galaxy film, that this would actually work really well as part of a little Galaxy display space. So I'm hoping that when I try to fit all the new bits onto the shelf you just saw, that this will fit neatly on there as well. So this is just, I don't think, is it called the R-Wing? I can't remember what it's called. Correct me in the comments, but anyway, it's Star Fox's ship. So that's going on the wall. I then had a voucher from, it was actually from work. It was I spoke at a conference as part of my job, and the conference organizer sent me a voucher, and I could cash it in a number of places, and I chose CEX. And when I'd gone in to pick up the Yoshi bucket, I also took a quick trip into CEX to see what I could use that voucher on, and I picked up something that I was really pleased with, and it's really cool. So I picked up for, I think it was £65, I had a £25 voucher, so £40 of my own money, the Nintendo World Championship NES edition. Specifically, I think it's the deluxe set they call it here, but to me it's that kind of collector's edition. Now this is actually a collection of mini elements of different NES classic games that were designed for the NES Championships back in the day, and they were brought back together in a compilation on the Switch. And back when it was released, I'm not quite sure how long ago now, it's a few years, I really wanted to pick this up. But I was really disappointed because I'd missed the boat, and I couldn't get hold of the deluxe edition. And the deluxe edition, as you'll be seeing in the B-roll, has the cartridge and the game, of course. It also has a replica game pack, which looks like an NES cartridge, and it's gold, and it's got the kind of logos from the game all over it. You get a set of 5 pins and then 13 art cards, and it comes in quite a neat little box. Now, when I went into CEX, I saw this by chance in the glass cabinets, and I asked them about it. I said, is it complete? And they said, actually, it had come in sealed. So it was actually brand new when it arrived. Of course, they have to open it to check all of it, the contents, and they don't sell sealed goods anyway. So, so yeah, when you'll be seeing in the B-roll, when I opened all this up, it's got all of the bubble wrap, and the packaging is exactly as it would have been at release. So I was really pleased with that. As I said, for £40 of my own money, I thought that was good value. And even at £65, I think it's a reasonably good price. You know, CEX is never the most competitive, but I don't think it was a rip-off at all. How much I'll play it, I'm not sure. I do want to have a go at it for sure, because some of these games are big ones for me from a memories perspective. But if nothing else, this will just look really cool on the Switch shelf behind me. So that was my main gaming pickup. I also picked up this. It's not the cardboard sleeve, it's what's inside. But this was from the Nintendo online store. Now, if you have used Nintendo's online membership before, you'll know that they do from time to time have member specific things that you can either buy or you can use points and rewards for. They've changed that program over the years in many different forms. But I can't even remember why I was logging in, but I'd logged in and I'd noticed I got a few points and it was encouraging me to redeem them. So I thought, oh, I'll have a look and see what's there. And this just caught my eye, and I thought I'd pick it up for the collection. It is a vintage style, but modern reproduction poster for the Virtual Boy, and it's got, if it's coming across on the camera, this kind of silver finish. It just says 3D display game system Virtual Boy, and then obviously it's got the console in the middle. And I thought that would work. It's on like a card, quite nice. Yeah, that wobbling. I thought this would look really good on display with my Switch online member Virtual Boy replica housing thing. I don't know what else you'd call it, but it's going to go on display and look really cool, I think, with that, which I have now had to move where it was previously living due to big old Yoshi. So that was another one of my interesting Nintendo pickups. I then, this is a weird one, right? I bought on Vinted. So I was buying a bunch of Edge magazines, which will be a future video. I bought a couple of Nintendo kind of vintagey retro bits of paper, effectively. And the seller sent it well packaged, I have to admit, in a book. Now, I'm not going to leave this on screen for too long, and I'll try and obscure the worst parts of it, but it says 52 times Britain was a bell end. Now, I'm probably not going to be reading this. It says the history you didn't get taught at school. But when I opened this, or started to open the package, thinking that it was just going to be some card sandwiching the things I bought, I was a little bit surprised, and I did think, oh, I've been mugged off here. Someone's just sent me this crap book and they're not actually sending the things I've paid for. That wasn't the case. Credit to the seller. I got a free book with my purchase. But what I actually bought were these two things that were neatly packaged inside. So the first one I'll show you was from Official Nintendo magazine back at some point. I'm not sure that it actually shows in here when it was, but effectively it is the N64 guide. Now, I'm a big N64 fan. As you flick through this, it tells you all about the console. It tells you about the games. Now, what cracks me up, and I'll be showing you some better B-roll of this, is on the first page it says the best value games console in the world. There's never been a better time to get yourself a Nintendo 64. The price of taking a tumble, so you can pick one up for just £99.98. And you could get that with GoldenEye or with Mario 64. I've actually got on display an N64 that was £99.98 to prove that that was true. Imagine that in today's world. You know, we've just seen the PS5 or the PlayStation suite of consoles take another price increase. I think the Pro console's up to, is it $899 now, US dollars, which is insane. You know, that console is now 5 years old and it's more expensive now by nearly 50%, I think, for the kind of base console than it was when it released in 2020. Just the world we're living in at the moment is crazy, isn't it? And pretty stressful. So it's nice to have these kind of vintage and retro releases, I think, and just further indulge in gaming, some sort of escapism. But anyway, this little book, it just talks you through some of the big games at the time, or what was popular at that point, showing off the catalogue of what was available and why you should spend just £100 to get into this ecosystem. And man, you know, if I had not had mine bought for me and not been a child at this time, what an experience you'd have gotten for £100. Just amazing. So yeah, so there's that really cool little N64 guide. And then the other thing that came from the same seller was a poster from, I'm not sure, I think it's the, again, Nintendo Official Magazine. This was 2009. So not super retro. Now, this is not the side I plan to display, but you can see here we've got Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, which I think was that a DS title, or Wii? I don't know, never played it. The real reason I bought it is what's on the other side, and it's one of my favourite games from the NES and Super Nintendo, and that is Punch-Out! Now this I do intend to display somewhere, I'm not quite sure where yet. We'll work that out, and it might even go in a clip frame if I can be bothered. Yeah, I absolutely love Punch-Out!, one of my favourite games. This has been very neatly torn from the magazine that it was a part of, or cut free, but I just thought it was really cool. I just thought really good artwork first of all, but also for me, memories of what is a really great game. And I've got very little in the office here that kind of shows off Punch-Out!. I've got the games, of course, on cartridge. I don't have any of them boxed, and maybe that's something I'll think about. And I do have up on the shelf there the Little Mac Amiibo, which I do really like as well. So that was another one of those. And then we get to my 2 Galaxy pickups. So the first one comes directly from Nintendo. Now, if you've ever, I haven't opened this yet, so I'm assuming this is what's inside. I've completely messed up if it isn't. Let's just get this open. And as always with Nintendo boxes, we get really cool insides. I love that they do this, and this one actually celebrates Super Mario's 40th, so that's really cool. And as we get in, this is actually a pre-order. So I pre-ordered this back when the Mario Galaxy double pack came out on Switch, but for some reason there was a really long lead time on these. I think it was to time with the movie. And it's actually way bigger than I had expected, and that is super cool, and I'm really happy with that. So let's just chuck that box away. So you can probably see from the back, it's an Amiibo. Which one did you buy, Jay? You're asking yourself. Well, of course it was Mario, and it's the Mario Galaxy Amiibo. This is really cool, and it's massive. I figured this would be the same size as the normal Amiibos, but this is huge. And I do slightly regret now not buying the Rosalina one as well, but I'm a Mario guy, not a Rosalina guy. And it's Mario blasting off from one of the Galaxy Star launchers with a Luma on a little sort of spherical base designed to look like, I guess, like one of the planets from Mario Galaxy. So yeah, I'll be showing that in some B-roll, but that is really cool and a really nice Mario piece. I think it was £25, so not mega. I know Amiibos are quite expensive, but I think I'd have felt worse about that had it been the size of my other Amiibos, but that is huge. And now also brings into question how much of this stuff I'm actually going to get on my little Galaxy shelf, because the last thing I've got to show you is also really big. So let's get on to that one. So when I was in our local town centre shopping with my family, my son and I went into the Entertainer, and this was before the movie, before we'd seen it. This was the day before, I think. And he fell in love with a Yoshi, an official Yoshi Mario figure. So I bought that for him. And then I saw something that I thought would be really cool for this little shelf. And it's one of my favourite characters in the Mario universe. One I often use on Mario Kart World at least. And that is Bowser Jr. Specifically though, and I could have bought the cheaper one, and perhaps I should have bought the smaller one. I bought Bowser Jr. that comes with, and what do they call it on here? The clown car. So this is the figure boxed. I will unbox it and show some B-roll. But yeah, basically you get Bowser Jr. with his magic paintbrush, which actually does, it says here, there's a water reveal sticker in the box. I won't be doing that. And then you get the clown with the propellers that spin and a little stand to display it on. I thought that would just look really cool with the Mario Amiibo, the Yoshi bucket, and yeah. Try that again. Battery ran out, didn't it? Of course it did. I've got to start plugging the camera in instead of just relying on the battery. What a doofus. Anyway, so as I was saying, really cool piece, probably a little bit big. I'll get it unboxed and I'll have a proper look at it. And the next thing you'll see is me trying to arrange this stuff on the shelf. So I'll let you have a little look at that once I've got it all out of the packaging, and we'll try and work out exactly how I'm going to fit all this into that little Mario Galaxy nook by my desk. Okay, hang on. Now, before we get to putting this stuff on the shelf, I've just been unboxing this. And I didn't even spot when I bought this that it comes with this handle, and that this has actually got sort of interactive controls. I mean, first of all, look how cool it is. So cool. So this clips in the back here, and then look at this. You can use it to control both the arms and spin the propeller. That's so cool. I mean, I don't need it. It's going to sit on the shelf, but completely cool. Look at it. Love it. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that. Let's get back to putting it on the shelf. Okay, so here is the shelf as it stands. I think they're going to throw a little bit of a move around, potentially, to get everything on. So first of all, we've already got on here, as you've seen before in previous videos, the Super Mario Galaxy, what would you class them as? They're like metal embossed posters, I suppose. I got those as part of the Galaxy 1 and 2 release on Switch, as well as this cool little Mario and Luma sticker and the little keyring. Those are all going to stay there. I also picked up Rosalina's storybook. Again, I featured this on the channel before, and actually it was fun to see this in the movies, although I haven't checked to see if it's movie accurate as to what they show in the film, so we'll have to wait and see. But that's also going to stay on here because it's very Galaxy relevant, but I think it's going to need to stand up now. I think temporarily you might have to come off, Mario. I think you may not fit all of this, but we'll see if we can get you on later on. So I'm going to pop Rosalina's storybook there. We've then got Big Bowser, and I think he will look good somewhere there perhaps. Maybe we will get Mario on, we'll see. We've got the Arwing, which I think, again, something like that maybe. And then Mario and the Amiibo perhaps there. Does that work? Maybe. Maybe I'll wrestle with it. Anyway, I'm really chuffed with it. I'll show you some B-roll as well as we go along, but I think that looks like a fun little Nintendo Mario Galaxy-esque little nod, at least for now. I'm sure I'll move this stuff around in time. And there you go, that is the end of the video. You can see the display. I'm really pleased with it. A little bit cramped, as I said, in the voiceover, but actually it's my kind of busy, so I'm cool with that. And you'll also have seen, hopefully, just how cool some of the stuff in that NES edition of the World Championship Switch Deluxe set was. I thought those pins were incredible. So yeah, I hope you liked looking at all of that. That's it for this video. As I say, I've had a thoroughly great week picking all this Nintendo stuff up. Loved the movie. Hope you do too if you go and see it. Do all of the usual things. Subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down below. Let me know what your favourite pickup was, what you thought of the movie if you've seen it. I'd love to know if you share my views and my frustrations, but I apologise for ranting a bit earlier on. Next week's video is going to be probably Edge magazine heavy, I think, based on the boxes and piles that have arrived in the last couple of weeks. I need to work through some of them, and hopefully there's some fun stuff in there, some interesting issues to add to the growing collection. But yeah, thanks so much as always for joining me for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been a little bit nostalgic, and yeah, have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.